Hey y'all, welcome to Pleiadian Point of View. I'm Peyton with Peyton Energetics, and I'm a Pleiadian channel and starseed coach. So in today's POV, the Pleiadians wanted to chat with us about our spiritual tools. They thought we needed a little tune-up on that topic. But before we dive into talking about our spiritual tools or our energy tools, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. Now, the P's have been scanning our collective energy and checking in on us as lightworkers and starseeds, and they thought it was a good time to have a little chat about our energy tools. So what are we talking about when I talk about energy tools or spiritual tools? Well, a tool is just a practice or a process that helps you move energy. So when we talk about tools, we're talking about things like grounding, integration, shadow work, breaking down templates. All of these things are tools or processes for moving energy. And the P's have been kind of looking at our spiritual community, our awakened community, and they noticed that there were some things that are causing a lot of light workers and starseeds to have kind of mixed results on their spiritual path. So if you've been on your spiritual path for a while now, you may notice that you've had kind of mixed results. So you may find that you learned certain things from this teacher or from this video, and it may have worked for a little while, or it may have worked in some areas of your life, but not in others. So at the end of the day, most light workers and starseeds have had kind of mixed results, where our tools either don't really work all the way or they stop working after a certain period of time. They may have been great for a couple months and then it seems like they just stopped working. So the P's wanted to talk to us in today's video about what is happening here and to give us a little advice to make sure that we're getting the most out of our spiritual tools. So if you are someone who has had mixed results from your spiritual practices, one of the first things that the P's always encourage us to check in on is to make sure that we have actual tools, because we have so much information in the spiritual community. We have people talking at us 24/7. There is someone out there willing to talk about just about anything. But where we fall a little short in the spiritual community is that so few of our spiritual teachers are teaching us how to actually do it. Everyone's talking about the theory, about what we should be doing, what the concepts are. And that's great. That's wonderful. We need that for our understanding. But this is what the P's refer to as knowledge. We love knowledge. Nothing wrong with knowledge. But knowledge only gets us so far. So one of the first reasons that you may be having mixed results in your spiritual practice or on your spiritual path is that you have more knowledge than actual tools. So if you have that mixed luck, like so many of us do, the first thing to check is, are the people that you're listening to and following, or your coaches and your teachers, teaching you actual tools? Are they teaching you how to actually move energy? If not, you are probably just accumulating knowledge. And again, nothing wrong with that. The only thing is, knowledge only gets us so far before we have to actually move the energy. It's like the difference between reading the manual of your car and actually driving it. Nothing really happens until you put it into practice. Our spiritual tools are exactly the same way. If we're not moving energy through a particular process or technique, not much is happening. That may be one of the reasons why you're not seeing the results you'd like to see. So first troubleshooting tip, if you are getting mixed results or not seeing great results with your spiritual tools, is to make sure you have spiritual tools. Now, the second thing that can trip us up on our spiritual journey is that we are using tools that weren't designed for us. Now, there's a common misunderstanding in the spiritual community that energy tools are one size fits all, that the same tool is going to work for everyone. And that is just not accurate. Everyone has their own unique energy and everyone has their own energetic needs, their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So one of the things that backfires on starseeds is they're using tools that don't fit them. And I see this all the time, especially with starseeds. Starseeds can have some very unusual energies and be doing some very unusual things with their energy field. So when many starseeds use the typical tools that we have in the spiritual community, wonderful tools, awesome tools, they may not get the same results. Or they may not get any results at all because you may be doing something unique with your energy field. And this is one of the mistakes that I made when I was first starting out on my awakening journey, is I used all the same tools that worked for everyone else, and nothing happened. And so over time, I learned that my energy field was doing something unusual. So if you are a starseed who is a transmuter or an anchor or a grid worker, you may find that the typical tools in the spiritual community just don't do much for you. They may work for everyone else and kind of fall flat with you. Or they may work for a couple weeks and then you notice you're just not getting results. And the reason for this is that our spiritual tools are not one size fits all. So what works for everyone may not work for you. That is one reason to make sure that whoever you are working with, whoever is your teacher, your coach, your mentor, or even whoever's videos you're listening to, are giving you tools that are appropriate for your energy field. Because one of the things that can happen if we are using tools that aren't a good fit for us is either nothing happens, so we're just wasting our time, or we can actually be making our energy worse. So if you are using tools that are much too strong for you, and you are an empath or a sensitive, or someone who is particularly sensitive to energy, this may be actually doing you a disservice. It may be unbalancing you even more. On the other hand, if you are someone who needs very strong, powerful, targeted tools, and you are using the everyday garden variety energy tool, it may be doing nothing for you. So this is something to check in on if you're noticing kind of mixed results with your spiritual tools. Now, the other thing that the Pleiadians have noticed that is tripping up a number of lightworkers and starseeds is they're using the wrong type of tool. Now, if you've been doing healing work and energy work for a while, you have probably heard your teachers talk about how healing is like an onion. You have to work through the outer layers of the onion before you get to the inner layers. And what this means is we don't get all of the energy cleared at one time. Be nice if we did, but unfortunately it doesn't really work that way. So what this means is we have different tools that work on different layers of energy. Now, 90+% of the tools that we have in the spiritual community, the things that everyone's aware of, work on what we call our individual level issues. So those would be our human issues. So those things that we picked up in this lifetime. But here's the interesting thing. If you've been doing your spiritual work for a while, you've probably moved through that layer of the onion. So one of the reasons that a lot of people seem to kind of hit a wall in their spiritual practice or get to that point where their tools just don't seem to be budging a couple of issues in their life, what that often means is that you're using the wrong level tool for that particular energy. So our individual level tools, those garden variety spiritual tools, work on the outer layer of the onion. But at this point, if you've been on your spiritual path for a couple years, you've probably cleared that layer of the onion. So what that means is we need bigger tools. Because what is tripping up a lot of lightworkers and starseeds is they are using individual level tools on collective energies, on global energies, on galactic energies. And guess what? Those tools won't work on the next layer of the onion. So if you feel like you are kind of hitting a wall with your spiritual practice, like you've made a lot of progress and then it just seems to kind of fizzle out, it may be you've moved on to the next layer of the onion. And at this point in our awakening journey, most of us have moved on to the collective level energies, which means those things that are popping up as issues in our life won't respond to personal level tools because we are now working on global and collective level energies. And all that means is we're working on much bigger energies. And that means we need bigger tools. So another thing to check in with yourself on, if you find that you are slowing in your progress, you're not moving as fast as you would like, or you still have those issues that you just cannot get rid of, it probably means you are using the wrong tool for your level of development. So very important as lightworkers and starseeds for our tools to grow as we do. We can't use the same tool indefinitely. We move through a layer of the onion, and then we need a bigger tool. And this is something that almost no one in the spiritual community is talking about or even aware of. And it is one of the reasons why so many of us feel like we hit walls. We get to a point where we just can't seem to move past it. And the reason for that is we're using the wrong level tool. So the P's wanted us to understand the importance of making sure we're using the right type of tool. And a lot of light workers and starseeds have outgrown personal level tools. You have cleared that layer of the onion. So very important to make sure that you are using tools that match your level of development. So these are just a couple of things you can check in on and kind of troubleshoot if you're someone who feels like you aren't making the progress you would like to make, or that your tools have kind of flatlined, they're just not working for you anymore. That probably means that you have cleared a particular layer of energy and you've moved on to the next one. And all that means is your tools need to grow with you. And if you want to learn those next level of tools, definitely check out the link in my bio to work with the P's. They are teaching all of us right now how to move through the global and collective energies that most of us are now processing. So click the link in the bio if you want to work with the P's one-on-one in learning this next level of tool. So that is what the P's wanted to share with you in today's POV. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.